These headphones hurt. Well, I finally did it and am going to try to set up a podcast. I have my little computer and an old audio box from 10 years ago, probably, with the microphone I just bought. And I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm talking in an empty room, and Sarah's asleep in the next room. Or she's trying to sleep, but I'm not going to let her sleep. And I'm going to go for it anyway. My name's Caden Kelly. I'm 23. I live in Ogden, Utah. I work as a carpet cleaner, and that takes up all of my life. I've had a pretty easy upbringing. Not easy. I've had a pretty simple upbringing. I wanted to do this podcast because I have a lot of things I want to talk about, and I think I have a pretty interesting mind. I think I'm good at talking to people and talking about my thoughts. I certainly like to talk, so this is one way for me to get that. And this is one way for me to be who I am. I have thought a lot about this and what I want to do and where I want to take it, and I want to be consistent with myself. I bought a $100 microphone, so I figured I have to take it somewhat seriously for a little bit. So I want to try to do an episode a week, or at least an episode a week, and I want to talk about some things that are important to me, like probably the biggest direction I want to take this, or the thing that's influenced me the most, is my post-Mormon lifestyle, how I've come out of Mormonism and how I am coping with family and friends who are and are not Mormon, how I make decisions in my life now. I also want to try to bring together a community of post-Mormons. I use the term post-Mormons because of another podcast I listened to, The Mormon Stories with John DeLynn, and he uses that kind of as instead of saying ex-Mormon, I think he uses the post-Mormon language because he's an older gentleman, and is not a member of the church anymore, has been excommunicated, and I think he identifies as a post-Mormon because he was raised a Mormon his whole life, and it's part of his identity. And I'm not as deep into the religion as most people, but as a 23-year-old, I spent 2 years on a mission, and my whole upbringing was surrounded by Mormonism and Mormon culture, so I would consider myself a Mormon at heart. No longer practicing, no longer believing. So I think I like the language of post-Mormon more than ex-Mormon, because I not like a bitter ex-Mormon, but I've got a lot of problems with the policies and the principles and the doctrine of the Mormon Church. So I've talked to friends about it, and I think there's a whole community out there of people who are either members of the church and don't want to be. They're members of the church and want to leave, and they don't know how. They're members of the church with a lot of questions, maybe don't want to leave, just don't know how to find answers to some of their questions. So I don't want to, part of my goals is not to pull people out of the church, but I want to bring new light and information to other people, and also to myself, by sharing the information that I know, things that I've learned, also bringing together the ideas and the thoughts of other people who are either post-Mormon or currently Mormon or non-Mormon, and be just to support each other. Something that goes along with this idea is another topic I want to focus on is well, I guess I'd call it sexuality, uh, gender identity. A lot of people know I've got two brothers who are not heterosexual, and even I, as their brother, I know I know one of them is gay, and one of them doesn't identify as gay. I think he's referred to himself as pansexual before. Um, there's a whole lot of things that I don't know. I should know more about this. I should know more about this and about my brothers, but I don't. So I've thought a lot about them. I've thought a lot about how a lot of people don't know about their world, what they deal with as well as gay men in Utah in a very strong Mormon culture. I want to talk more about them. I want to learn more about them. I've already talked to one of my brothers about doing this together so we can collaborate. He can explain a lot of things to me. I could share that with a lot of people. And we can get a better idea on his world, on their world, in their culture. So that's another one. I also like to talk about video games and music because I love to play video games. This and this is, you know what? This is just my podcast, and I'm just going to talk about it. And if only my close friends are going to listen to it, then we can talk about it later. That's fine. I mostly just want to talk about it so I can share it and maybe come up with some ideas for myself. Some other things I want to talk about. Something that's new to me, new in my life is a few weeks ago I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, and I have a lot to learn about what that is, what it means to me, what my life is going to be like, how to handle it, how to manage it. And I need to reach out to a community of people who are a part of the IBD world. And so I can learn how to live a healthy and happy life as a colitis kid. I also don't know the name of a podcast, the name of this podcast, so I think I'm going to call it the Colitis Kid now, and only talk about my colitis, so you can forget about everything else. I didn't prepare for this. I wanted to see if the microphone worked and if I could get any sound out of my audio box, and it looks like it's working. So this is going to be this is my introduction. I guess I'll give you a little brief history of who I am. So I was born in '96 in Ogden, Utah, and I've got three brothers, Cooper and Connor. They're twins. I've got a youngest brother. His name is Cannon. The twins are 21. Cannon is 15, turning 16 in April. My mom and dad are divorced. Oh, I also want to talk about divorced parents and family and relationships. Because my parents are divorced. My dad is remarried. My mom has been remarried and is recently divorced again. I have a whole lot of thoughts about both of their relationships. I love both my parents dearly. I have a great relationship with both of them. That's another goal of mine, to talk more about divorced parents, divorced families, growing up with parents who are divorced, reaching out to people who are going through similar things or have felt similar things, how they've coped with it. It's particularly important to me right now because my brother Cannon is still 15, lives with my mom, and still has to deal with separated parents. Now he has to deal with two separated parents. Well, the same separated. Anyway, mom's divorced twice, so he's had to go through it twice. I think it's important to talk about all of this as well, instead of keeping it. If it's hard for somebody to deal with or to cope with, then talking about it is, to me, can be one of the most effective ways to learn about the situation, how we can get through situations, how we feel better. And I've got a lot of thoughts. I'm excited to maybe take this to a lot of friends. I want to talk about most of these topics with people. I don't want to talk about it by myself because I'm not a brilliant doctor. I can't ramble for an hour or even 30 minutes by myself without probably losing the interest of everybody listening. So, with that being said, I'm always welcome to new topics, new discussions about learning new things in any regard. I try to keep an open mind. I think it's important to be open-minded to new ways of life and to new ideas. I think it's important to be understanding of people who live lives that I don't live or that I don't understand. And unless you learn that it's inherently wrong or evil, but you're never going to know that unless you learn it. So those are some of my goals. So if you're listening to this, if you've made it through this 11 minutes and 30 seconds, then I'm glad that you stuck it out with me. I've been talking to a wall and a little picture that I have of me and Sarah on my dresser. And that's why I moved everything off of the top of my dresser and I put my laptop and my microphone on it because I don't have a table or a desk to do this. I'm stuck in my bedroom doing it, and I'm happy to do it right here every single time if I have to. If you that are listening to this and you want to reach out to me, then I don't know how you're going to hear this, and I don't know how you're going to be able to reach out to me, but you can find me on any social media under Caden Kelly, or if you find this on YouTube, then you can comment me on YouTube or wherever it's going to be. So thanks for listening, and it's 9:12 on October 24th, and I hope you have a great evening.